Hi, this is Gertie, and I'm the director of Tuna's Guinea Pig Rescue, and I am here to answer some of your questions. I have my phone here, have the questions set up. I gave them a glance, but I'm going to try to answer these as much off the top of my head with honest answers as I can. All right, let's get started. First question was, can you talk about how you started the rescue and give a step-by-step process? So this is a tough question because I feel like our journey was atypical, and it would probably be a 2-hour video if I walked you through every step of the process that we used to start the rescue. I can tell you that we started as fosters. We started fostering pigs, gaining some knowledge about medical needs and better understanding of care needs, and we documented everything we learned. We also connected to our local animal control center or humane society and started learning about partnering with them and what the needs of the community were. We did some research on were there other small animal or guinea pig rescues in our area and what work were they doing and could we work with them. I also became an admin of a rehoming board online where I was assisting people to rehome their own pigs. And that really gave me a good bird's eye view on what the needs were in my specific community. Taking the next step was kind of a leap, and we really needed to make sure we did our homework and that we understood what the reporting compliance requirements were for our state, what the zoning was for where we lived. We do live in an apartment, so we certainly couldn't run the entire rescue out of our home. It wouldn't be zoned for that. We started learning what the requirements were for bringing in fosters to an organization. I can tell you that starting the rescue out from the start is very expensive. You can plan on spending anywhere between $1,500 and $4,000 just to get your non-for-profit and your 501c3 stuff organized. And that also includes getting registered with the state. Every state's different. Every state has their own rules, compliance, fees, requirements. I do encourage you to go to the website for your county clerk office or for your state in general, and they should be able to give you an idea of what the non-for-profit requirements are and then what the requirements are for an animal rescue in your state. What are tips you've learned along the way? If I could go back in time, there's a lot of things I may have done differently. One of them is probably getting the staff set up beforehand. We started it with just me and my boyfriend Ken, and we held all positions and we were the only 2 voting members and we had a couple of fosters, but we were very small to start and we thought that would be more than enough. Very quickly we realized that we were growing very rapidly. There are not any other small animal or guinea pig rescues in our area that do exactly what we do. So we got kind of an onslaught of surrender requests when people figured out where we were. We got a director of fosters and a media relations director and an adoptions director and some lead fosters and software and all of those organizational pieces we kind of did after the fact. And I would definitely suggest doing it the opposite way and getting all of that stuff set up, your accounting software and your bank accounts and everything all set up before you jump into taking large amounts of surrenders. It'll definitely help you in the long run because you can't do it all yourself. The other tip I have for rescue is to protect your heart and protect your mental health, because you are no help to an animal if you are not in a good space. And you will see some pretty terrible stuff doing rescue. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We see the best of humanity and we see the worst of humanity when you work with animal rescue. And it can be hard and it can be overwhelming. And it can feel like you failed because you didn't save all of the pigs that day that needed your help. But you have to be willing to let yourself have the small wins and understand that the animals that are in your care, their lives are different because you got involved. And you need to give yourself breaks. Take those vacations, take that family time, unplug from the email, unplug from the surrender requests and the pictures and the boards and all of the social media, and let your brain rest. Because if you don't, then you get burned out really fast. What are toys that are my go-to? We are Oxbow people. We do a lot of partnership with them, and I like the fact that I know anything that I buy from them is safe. I never have to do, investigative work to see what kind of wood it is. I have to make sure that, small parts, If it comes from Oxbow, we know it's safe. The ones that they really love, and I'll try to edit in a picture of these when I edit this later, is they're called dumbbells, and it's two like Timothy balls with a stick in between. They go gaga for those. They will destroy them. They're good for even pairs because one can be on each side of the dumbbell. If they pull it apart, it's still safe. Another thing that they really like is there's like a little toy table. I'll try to insert it here. And everybody across the board seems to like that. They hide in it. They try to climb on top of it. But Oxbow anything, as long as it says it's safe for guinea pigs, is a good bet. What should you have in a guinea pig medical emergency kit? So we have some resources on our website I encourage you to take a look at. I also really encourage people to take a look at Scotty's Animals website, as well as Skinny Pigs One. Both of them have great resources for medical kits. Just off the top of my head overview, you should always have the bleeding stopping powder or gel, septic powder. I like the gel because I think it's actually easier to apply, but some people like the powder. You should have Neosporin. You should have clean gauze. You should have Q-tips. I'd use a little bit of olive oil in there. I think Benebac is another thing that's really good to have. That's something that you can give your guinea pigs if you are giving them antibiotics and they have an upset stomach. Obviously, always tell your vet if you're going to use something. A pair of baby nail clippers, some tweezers, Head and Shoulders or dandruff shampoo is really good for antifungal. I'll see if I can put a link in the description below to our resources as well as the list that we use. It's a ton of stuff. A lot of it you can get from the dollar store, or you can get it cheap on sale. So it doesn't have to be super expensive, but having these things at home will save you. Baby gas drops is another thing that you should always keep in there. If you have a pig that's suffering from bloat, vet can't see them, a lot of times they'll tell you to dose them with that for a couple of hours until you can get them into the vet, and that does often help. So these are things that don't replace a veterinarian, but can certainly help out if you have an emergency. What are ways to keep your piggies stimulated without spending a ton of money? I think that there's a couple of things that you can do to make sure that your pigs are stimulated. And one of them obviously is having a cage that meets the minimum cage requirements. We really highly suggest a 2x4 CNC size cage for a pair, a 2x5 CNC cage size for a pair of males. But the bigger that you can give them, the better. The more room they have to run around, the more room you have to put things in there for them to explore, the more likely they are to be engaged. One of the other things that we do is we have sets of things, hides, toys, chews, engagement items, hay bags even, and we'll swap them out maybe every week or two. And you'd be surprised how just adding new things to the cage, even if it's something they've seen before, can really cause them to be super engaged with what's in the cage. They'll go crazy for something if it's new, even if they've seen it before. So having a couple of sets of stuff is always a good idea and mix it up a little bit. The other thing is floor time. If you can give your pigs floor time, even if it's just for a little bit, having them see and feel something new is really engaging for them. Other things that you can do toys-wise is we take the paper towel rolls and we cut them lengthwise to make sure they don't get stuck, and we'll fill them with Timothy hay. We have a snuffle board, which I'll see if I can insert either a link below or an image here. And it's just a bunch of fleece pieces in different shapes, and you can put treats underneath, and then they have to go and forage to get it. So anything that kind of has your guinea pig try to use their brain will help with that engagement and give them something new to look at. How can you help guinea pigs in your community without spending a ton of money, and if you don't have space to foster or adopt? I love this question because not everybody can donate a ton of money, and not everybody can bring additional animals into their home, whether it's temporary to foster or to adopt. So a big thing that we always say is get involved on social media, share posts from the rescues that you're passionate about, share posts about fundraisers that you're passionate about, and be a voice in the community for those rescues. It's so important that the message gets out there. Be an advocate on guinea pig informational boards and adoption boards, a kind advocate, but be an advocate for good care and for the rescues that you're passionate about. Another thing is not a lot of people know that most rescues need admin volunteers. We're actually looking for some right now and working through applications. And that's somebody to do data entry, answer phones, answer emails, make vet appointments, check on adopters, things of that nature. So a lot of times you can volunteer to do things like that, and it would be a super help, huge help. The last way you can do it is if you have a vehicle and you're able to travel, be a transporter. So many people forget about the fact that we have to often bring pigs from other places to us or bring pigs from us to adopters. And it's not always something that directors can do because of timing. So if you're able to take pigs from a place to another, even if it's just a single leg of a trip, that is a huge help to rescues. And they'll often cover gas or mileage depending on the rescue's policies. How can the community help rescues like you? Same idea, very similar question, but something I didn't mention is we do a couple of live events every year, and promoting those live events, attending those live events, even if you're not adopting, being an advocate for the rescue, word of mouth stuff that goes out, all of that is really big for us. So when we do our adoption event with Caroline in October, and we do a couple of other events with some locations around. We do fundraisers, we do raffles, things of that nature. Any way that you can get involved with that helps to promote the rescue in the community. What's the most difficult part of running the rescue? This is a hard question. I would say that the hardest part of running the rescue is having to make decisions about what pigs we accept as surrenders and which pigs we can't. And there's a lot of reasons why. Sometimes we're at capacity and we can't take any more surrenders. Sometimes we don't have a good placement for a sick pig, or we don't have a place that can take that particular gender. Sometimes we have male and female only fosters. Sometimes they're too far away and we can't bring them to the rescue. Sometimes there's legal or compliance issues about why we can't get involved. I've had a situation where a pig was left in a hotel, and because the hotel would not allow us on the premises, we could not go in and help the animal. We had to wait for the police. That's really hard. I think a secondary thing is just seeing how misinformation and lack of education can lead to pigs being treated in a way that it doesn't meet with our standard requirements, doesn't meet with the way that we would want pigs to be treated. And a lot of times it's not malicious. A lot of times people just don't know. But it is difficult to see these animals that we know have an incredible amount of compassion and intelligence, being in these tiny little cages with nothing to look at and nothing to do. I can't even imagine how mad you must be after a period of time. So, for every pig that we get lucky enough to bring and save, there's probably 10 pigs that we don't. And that's a hard pill to swallow, I think, for people that do rescue work. What's the top 3 wish list items you would consider most needed? I actually asked my boyfriend because he handles our supplies. I would say fleeces. We never have enough fleeces, and we use fleeces with kitchens at the rescue. So what that means is the whole cage is a fleece, like a guinea dad fleece, and then we have a pan or a tray with bedding in it like Carefresh, and that's where we put their food, and they tend to poop and pee in there. But those fleeces are expensive, and they don't last forever, so that's a big one. Hay is always needed. These guys just kill hay, so that's something that's always needed. And then, medical supplies. I would say, we've had a couple of eye drops and some over-the-counter medications that have been donated, and they are incredible. They're super, super helpful because those can get pretty pricey when you buy them in bulk. What's your favorite thing about piggies? That's a nice lighthearted question. I think my favorite thing about pigs is their capacity for love and trust, even when we've given them reasons not to. I've seen pigs come from pretty bad situations, and they come to us, and they are super friendly and want to love you and want to be loved on, and they just have that compassion for forgiveness and that community vibe that they want to be around other beings and be loved. And then there's popcorning. I mean, you can't you can't beat a pig popcorning as they're running around in floor time. Favorite rescue story ever? This one was tough too. I saw this one earlier, and I asked a couple of people in the rescue what their favorite rescue story was, and everybody kind of has their own. But we've done two major large number rescues since we started. One was at the very beginning. It was one of our first major surrender situations, and we took, I think it was like 12 pigs in, which at the time for us was a huge amount of pigs. In very bad conditions. All of them were pregnant. A lot of them had never had nail clips and baths, and they had mites, and it was just ringworm. So that one was tough, but it was beautiful to see them kind of bloom. And 3 of them actually ended up in our personal herd here. Cruella, Mim, 4. Cruella, Mim, Henley, and Houdini. All 4 of our upstairs girls came from that first case. The other one I would say is the one we did most recently, where again we took, I think it was 26 pigs, watching them all blossom and give birth and go and find homes. I think when you do those large cases and the conditions are a little bit more severe than you would get from a regular surrender, and then you get to watch them completely go on the other end of the spectrum and become these wonderful outgoing pigs, that's really rewarding. Let's see. Is the rescue in a location where people can visit, or are all the piggies placed in fosters? I get this question all the time. People want to either come and volunteer at our location, or they want to come and visit. We are a home-based, foster-based rescue. So we have fosters that live across DC, Maryland, North and South Carolina, and Virginia. My home is considered the home base, but it's really just another foster house. So unfortunately at this time we don't have a facility that you can come visit, but we always encourage you to come and visit when we do our live events. Who are the people that run the rescue and volunteer? Well, I am the director. So, we were kind of the founding members, and, I do a lot of the administrative stuff and make some decisions and run the meetings and all that good stuff. My boyfriend, Ken, is the vice president, vice director, and he's also our treasurer. So he handles all of our finances, our supply orders, all that stuff. Meg is our foster director, and she handles all of our foster intakes, our home visits, making sure our fosters are compliant, placing pigs, pulling pigs, all that stuff. Courtney is our media and social media and fundraising director. I always forget what she is. And she handles all of our fundraising events and our media marketing and our social media accounts and all that stuff. So if you see posts on Instagram, that's Courtney. She's very good at it. And then Amber is our newest addition, and she is our adoptions director. So she handles all of our new adoption applications, communication of our requirements, doing screenings, and stuff like that. We also have a number of other volunteers to help us with transports and admin and all of that good stuff. We're in the process of a website conversion right now, so once that's up, you'll be able to see pictures and bios of all of our volunteers. What are some safe ways to keep the air around your wiggies smelling nice? That's a really good question. I'm going to insert either a clip or a link down below to the air purifier that we use. We have 3 or 4 of them here. They have made a huge difference. I always recommend them to people with pigs. They're safe, they're super quiet, the filters are not very expensive, the units themselves are pretty inexpensive, and they do an incredible job. there's really not a good safe way to do candles or plugins or incense and stuff near the pigs, unfortunately. But having an air purifier will help a lot. The other thing we do is we have a shop vac. I make sure I'm picking the poop up every day, because if they pee on the poop, sometimes that can be a little bit more smelly. So you keeping the cage clean and then adding an air purifier helps pretty well. Advice on safe treats toys for guinea pigs. Again, we're Oxbow, so we use Oxbow toys. We do make some of our own toys out of non-color dyed cardboard, because you want to use the brown cardboard, not stuff that has colors on the outside of it. We also do Oxbow cookies. They make a variety. Our girls are really into the bell pepper ones right now. They have vitamin C cookies. And then we do veggies and fruits intermittently. Veggies every day, I should say, fruits intermittently. And we really try to stay on the more plain, I guess, side of treats. None of the yogurt stuff, none of the seed stuff, none of the dried berries, none of that's really good for your pigs. And then what do you get as a foster? Is there anything like a starter kit you guys provide? So that's a good question. We do offer what we call foster kits to non-emergency fosters. So that means fosters that are brought in permanently to foster for us. And that includes a temporary Midwest cage, a set of fleeces, a bowl, water bottle, pan for the hay, and then you get monthly supplies. So we'll do a bag of hay, a bag of Carefresh, a bag of pellets, and vitamin C cookies each month. But fosters are expected to supplement the stuff that we give them, obviously, with fresh veggies and supplemental hay and pellets and stuff, because what we give is not going to last the whole month. We do what we can based on donations. So some months we have more, some months we have less, but that is the minimum amount. We also offer help for local fosters with things like nail clipping and board cleaning and stuff if you have pigs, but maybe you're not comfortable with that kind of stuff yet. Will help. We also cover all vet visits. So all vet visits are fully covered by the rescue. You just have to make sure that you take them there and take them back and invoice and give us an invoice. What exactly are your adoption requirements and why are they so strict? I love this question because I like talking about it. Our adoption requirements are pretty cut and dry, and they're the same across the board. We require a cage of a minimum size, so it's either a 2x4 CNC cage size for females or a 2x5 CNC cage size for a pair of males. Any more than 2 pigs, you'll have to go up from there. We require bedding either a kiln-dried pine, that's the only kind of a pine that's safe, Carefresh bedding, dust-free, or fleece. If it's fleece, it has to be an absorbent fleece with an absorbent layer sewn into it. So no fleece blankets from Walmart. It's got to be like Guinea Dad or Etsy, or you'd sew your own with the U-Haul pads in between. We encourage the use of kitchens, but those are not required. Each pig has to have at least one enclosed hide per pig. We also want to see one per for food dishes and water bottles and stuff like that, especially for males. We do require that sorry, there's like things flying in front of me. We do require that all of our adopters' pets in the home have seen a vet in the last 12 months and are up to date on all of their required vaccinations and care. We do require that our adopters make a well visit for their new piggies within 60 days of adoption. We're going to ask for pictures of your cage. We're going to ask you to sign an adoption contract. We're going to ask you for permission to call your vet. And then we also do a phone screening where we talk a little bit about our expectations, make sure it's a good fit, talk about the pigs, talk about you, stuff like that. The whole adoption process usually takes at least a couple of weeks to get through. But at the end, you get an amazing set of pigs that's well suited for your family, and you guys are going to be able to be their forever home. And that's really the goal. That's why we're so strict about their adoption requirements, is that our goal is place permanently. We want that to be the last stop for the pig, and for that pig never to have to find another home again. And want that pig to be happy, and you guys to be happy as adopters as well. If you have any questions about anything that I talked about in the video, or any questions about the rescue in general, you can always email us at staff@tunasguineapigrescue.com, or you can message us on any of the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. I even hear word that we might be getting a TikTok. So I really appreciate you guys sending in the questions. I hope this was informative, and we'll see you soon.